second. Hold my beer. I can make it worse. So.
Okay, I
Some
can
pops.
shut
What's
that
up,
down.
Joe?
Okay.
Hey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes Artist Alley.
Woo! We're live.
Hi. Hi.
DeLorean Wolfgang says hi from the chat. As well.
As I
Very
say
nice.
hi in real life.
Yes. And yes, they say hi, Tony. Yes. By the way, welcome everybody to the Artist Alley. We have our guest with us tonight, artist Tony Poulson. Am I saying that name correctly? Poulson?
Yeah, that's
Last
perfect.
Name? Nice.
Thank
Tony
His
Poulson here with
name
us.
was Robert Poulson.
His name was Robert Poulson.
Sorry.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we do not talk about Fight Club. I needed to move out of the way so I can showcase your art here behind me. The fabulous Gwen Stacy being held by some anonymous web slinger's hands here, it looks like.
I got a story about that. Stick it
There's stories today.
Man, you just got stories.
That's why we brought you on, for the stories, sir. Oh, we have a lot of people in the chat now. Nice. Welcome, Steph. Welcome, Dave. Welcome, everybody. We should probably let people filter in for a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Says hi. They're saying hi to each other now, too. It's always cute when they say hi to each other. So, yes, welcome, Tony.
It's always cute.
Tony, whoa. Easy chat. It is Thirsty Thursday. I forgot.
I don't get it.
There you go. Thirsty Thursday? You don't get that?
I'm always thirsty.
I don't know what anybody even said.
Oh, never mind. Anyways, we'll move on then. So, Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your upbringing. What got you into art?
And who's that at your window?
What's that?
Yo, oh my God, it's a ghost in your window.
There are people out your window.
I do not have a blind. All right.
Oh my God.
This is my studio space in my basement, and it's like a walkout basement. And just fair warning, we have 6 cats. We are the ultimate cat people, like rescue cats. Like we are, like that's where my whole Hand Over the Hero series started, was from my damn cat.
Nice.
I love it.
That's a story. But I was gonna tell you, one of our cats, his name's Sugar. He's a white cat. He didn't come up to bed with us, didn't even think anything of it. Then the next day I go into my studio in the morning and he comes running out. And I'm like, oh my God, you got locked in the studio, and he ripped my blind down. Like just,
oh no.
Like they're like, I mean, they are not cheap blinds. And I was like, oh shit. Like what the hell? Like he ripped the blind down. And I think, you know what I mean? He's scared. He's trying to get out the window.
Right.
Just,
poor thing.
nope. He didn't harm any artwork, books, collectibles. He just ripped the whole. So that.
Hey man, at least it was just that. It could, yeah, exactly like you said. It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny. All right, well there you go. Yeah, tell us a little bit. But besides the ghost children and the cats in your window, tell us a little about yourself.
Born and raised in Utah. That's where we live now. And drawing since I was a little kid. I had one of those the parents, especially my mom, that saved every one of my pieces of artwork.
Good.
So I have just like all, I can literally look back at all my old ideas, sketches. She put them in Notepad. You know, everything I did, they saved. So just drawing since like a little kid, and have been lucky enough, and you know, the right spaces where I've had an art career up. Like my first published piece was my 7th grade newspaper, and just was published all the way through college, and then, I mean, went on and on and on. I got some, awards doing editorial cartooning and whatnot. And side note, I sold cars for like almost 10 years. That's where the DeLorean story comes in. And
nice.
Then
very excited about that.
Okay. But I started doing the Comic-Con scene roughly, it's been about 7 years ago here in Utah. And then 2 years ago, I quit my job selling cars, selling the Mini Coopers, to do the convention scenes full time up until March 3rd. C2E2 was the last one I was at. And then COVID canceled for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
that's my calendar. Let's see.
Oh, I see.
Right,
yeah. Yep.
For this year. And
Blank.
you can't see them there. It's like red, just like moving this date, canceled this flight's done. It's like all done.
Awful, man.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that hit hard. I mean, that's why we're doing this Artist Alley. I mean, that was kind of the whole brainchild behind this, was that we don't get to go to physical cons, so we don't get to talk to the artists and see their artwork. Why not bring them on and showcase them on our show?
I love it. I'm I'm glad you guys are doing this. I appreciate it a lot. We've just been having fun. It's been an interesting time for us that relied solely on the conventions.
Right.
You know, some online sales, but to go from like king of the world to all of a sudden,
yeah.
oh my god,
oh my god, Rose let go of my hand and now I'm sinking. Yes.
It's
Dude,
that Will Ferrell
awful.
meme that's going around like the city's burning. He's like, anybody want to buy some artwork?
Yes. That has been going around. Yeah, tell them to get away. Say shoo, kids, shoo.
You can't. It won't come off.
Oh no, it won't come off. What did they get into?
We've got some cats that are not our cats, and they shouldn't be.
Okay.
What is this?
fun.
Dork Knight in the chat says he likes your Street Fighter shirt.
Oh, he knows what's up right off the bat.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
That's fantastic.
Dude, I'm telling you, like Super 7, those guys they're really nice. But all their stuff is like, oh, here we go. You're live.
I need your help.
See, all these guys are talking to me. You better say
He's
hi.
like, oh, you better say hi to us. No, he's like, oh shoot, I'm live. Yeah, what do you need help with?
Yeah, hey, that doesn't come off. Tell mom it doesn't come off.
Now, who is this? And is he an artist too?
Are you an artist?
No.
Who's an artist?
Oh,
Millie's an
all right.
artist. Can you shut the door for me, please? Gracias. My daughter is, which is really cool. So I've got two
Nice.
kids. That's Max, and my daughter's Amelia. But,
That's awesome.
Anytime shit's going down for dad, they're like, I gotta interrupt him. It's
Of
just
course, it's like
Yeah.
you're not busy, and all of a sudden, oh, we don't care. But oh, you have something to do. You're something going on. Of course.
fine. Yeah,
Very
they're-
nice.
They can hang. They're cool. So.
No, but was your family pretty supportive then? It sounds like so. If your mom kept all your stuff.
Family, my parents, absolutely, like 100%. I still remember one of my art. I have two stories about that. One is like, I think it was like 8th or 9th grade. We had an art show, and there was a Spider-Man, and like I ended up, drawing it. I did all color pencils, and then during the award ceremony, I remember them saying like, "Oh, you were disqualified."
Oh.
And I was like, okay, like whatever. My dad approached the teacher, was like, what's going on? They're like, oh, he just copied that. And he's like, no, he didn't. Like, he drew that. And they wanted to discredit me, which was crazy. So seeing my dad stand up for me back then, but probably the best example of having a supportive family is at my high school, we had student body artists. So there was 5 of us, and we would there was this offshoot room from our art class, and basically our last period of the day, we would go every week and we would draw the calendar for the next week. Like, it was like, here's the sports stuff going on, here's student body president's announcements, and we just got to do whatever. Like, we minutes, like we all drew kaijus.
Oh,
or we did,
student body artist, not student body artist. Okay,
yeah, not student body. Yeah, exactly. Hey, I got some of those. But anyways, that's college. But so they asked us at one point, make some advertisements for like the art programs and stuff to get people for the next year to get excited about art classes. And so I drew this like scantily clad lady. Basically, she's naked, like laying out,
Right.
like, flowing black hair, but she had banners across her, like her nipples and her crotch, and it said,
Right.
Take art classes, draw live nude models. And
Nice.
left it up. I mean, it's all tasteful in the capacity.
Sure.
Looking back, you can't really draw females that well now, but like back then, it's like whatever. And the next day, it was gone, and we're like, "What? Yeah, that doesn't come off.
Doesn't come
It
on.
doesn't. No,
This is the best interview so far.
no.
I love
I'll
this.
come inside.
I'm very curious about what is not going to come off. What kind of permanent thing is going on? Okay. I thought it was going to be some like paint. They got on something. This room is now emote only mode. Uh-oh.
That's right. So start throwing in emotes, everybody.
So your wife's like, I need you now.
If you need to step away for a second, man, feel free. We can.
Okay, 'cause it doesn't come off. I'll tell her 100 times this does not come off. So, so anyways, so I was like, where'd it go? And the principal had taken it down, or the vice principal. My dad, and like he's like dresses the nines, like just classiest dude, like goes into me to the principal's office. He's like, why is my son's art being taken down? And basically stood up with me, and they're like, well, it was lewd. He's like, well, you know, he was just going toes with this vice principal.
Right.
And it all came down to like, well, he drew it on school time, on school property, on school supplies, so we have every right to like take it down. He's like, well, can he just at least keep it? And they're like, we already shredded it and burned it. We're like,
Oh my god!
it was like it was crazy to look back. So I knew I had my parents back, you know, so many years ago that like, you know, and maybe, who knows, maybe my dad knew the reason why it was taken down. I don't think he did, but like to show that you would stand up for your kid, to show him like you can't let people bully you. It was so stupid. But I mean,
that's amazing though.
Conservative like state here, anyways. But
Sure.
situations where, you know, and then my family here. I mean, I like, and I've talked about this in my Instagram lives. Mike, when I worked at the car dealership, like I made 6 figures. Like I was one of the top guys that worked for Mini USA. And then to have this point in my life where I just like, I need a change. Like I'm not like, yeah, I can make more money, but I just got to the point where like, it didn't matter. I just like, I'm done. And my wife was like, hey, you've done cons. We've tracked the numbers relatively. I know what you can do. If you put 100% into this, then you can go out and do that.
Nice.
So
supportive wife. I like it.
Very. So I mean, she was like, it's like, just quit, like quit bitching about it. Like quit.
Right.
Like, and you know, we had to like arrange things. It took about 6 months to finally pull the trigger, but I had to line up a lot of conventions. So as soon as I quit, it's been 2 years ago this month that I could hit the ground running. But to have someone, you know, we moved like new kid, new house, everything that to just be like, quit your job was huge.
Sure, it's scary. Yeah.
That's amazing. It's great
Leap
to have
of
that
faith.
backing, for sure. Yeah.
Very nice. So did you, when you after you went to high school, did you take classes in college? Did you actually go to an art school, or is this?
Got it off. Got it off.
No, she got it off. Wait a second, you lied.
She got the tools.
Wow. I think you lied to them. You said it didn't come off. Doesn't come off. She showed
off.
you.
It doesn't come off. Like, that's how my wife is. She is like ultimate stubborn.
She's like, oh, does it not, huh? I'll show you.
Work.
Amazing.
So anyways, yeah, we're all good.
Hilarious. Yeah. So after high school, did you go to school specifically for art, or was that like an afterthought?
That's a good. So I ended up going to. I thought, okay, like I was going to go to school in San Francisco. There's the Academy of Art College of Art. Did you go there? Is that where you're from?
Well, that's right. I live across the bay here in Oakland.
Oh, okay. You're like, okay. So you know the Academy of Art.
I do. Yes.
They have all these, you know, places around the city. I went there. I visited. They're like, oh, we love you. We'll take you. We really learned that behind the scenes, it's like we see the money. Not that we have like money, but they're like, oh, we've accepted you on your portfolio. I was like, okay, like excited, but it's like, now we want your money. And I just, nothing worked out. And it just like, it's just the money, like hands down, it's expensive. And it's like, I can't live in the city. And we didn't even like look into the true nitty gritty. But when you just saw like, when they did the proposal, like, here's how much it's going to cost. I was like, I was going into advertising, like not going to happen.
Right.
But,
So I did the same thing. I was like, nope, not going there.
It's bonkers how crazy it would have been, and especially going into like traditional advertising. I mean, that's all not finished, but it's so changed. Like it's all the people with social media. Like it's just different. It's a very different world.
Yeah.
So I would have been like 200, 300 grand in debt with like a, you know, Mad Men style degree. That, you know,
would have been antiquated by now.
Very.
Yeah, they antiquate so quick.
Yeah. So went to the University of Utah a year later and did their foundation classes. I got into their coveted graphic design program because this is like 2003. 2002 that I would have gotten into their program. So very selective. It's like 15 of us that made it in out of like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of students. And then they don't teach you anything as far as like, okay, we want you to design this project, but they don't teach you Photoshop. They don't teach you anything.
Wild.
I mean, maybe they did, but I don't think they did. I'm pretty sure looking back, because it's just like I was chasing girls, like I was in my fraternity, like I was having a good time. I had a girlfriend, like I never did this.
Where's the wife right now? Where is she?
No, very like this is Yeah, no, we've been married almost
Years
11
ago.
years. But yeah, I'm 37, so like this is back 2002. But basically, I didn't like the assignments. I wasn't that type of guy. It's like, let's do still lifes. Let's do this. Like, I can truly say for art school, and even because my high school teacher was a student of one of my college professors. So as soon as I took one of his life drawing classes, he's like, "Oh, you're a Marjorie student. How can you tell? Because I know how you're drawing the human figure." So,
Right.
which was a good thing. But basically, art school and college, I learned maybe like 3 things that I still remember today, and they weren't even like really techniques. I mean, you're like your oil painting. It's like start, light to dark, or lay your darks in, like then add your highlights. Like just it's opposite from watercolor. You work light to dark, but there wasn't a lot of technical things. And at the same time, literally the first day of art school in college, I had one of my cartoons on my binder, and this kid's like, "Hey, they're hiring at the school newspaper. You should go check it out. They're looking for a cartoonist." I was like, "Okay."
Nice guy. All right.
So yeah, the fact that I had my binder, and I feel like a lot of my life is like that, right place, right time, where I had my binder there, and this kid saw it and happened to know that they're hiring. He, by the way, how long is this? Because I don't want to.
No, dude, this is great.
Okay,
Yeah, but-
cool. You're like, yeah,
At
we're
least up to
done.
2 hours or more, so you're fine. You can go as long as you want.
All right. He had seen this piece and said, "Hey," the fact he knew that they were hiring, I was like, "Cool." So I put my portfolio together like the next day or whatever, and I went up there, and this is how my dad had just taught me. He's like, "You just got to be confident and just like, you're the guy." So I walked in to the editor, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Tony. I'm your next cartoonist." And he's like, "What?"
Nice.
I'm like, "Here's all my stuff." He's like, "Okay." And he flipped through. He's like, "Well, I like your stuff. Okay, cool. Like whatever." So right from the get-go, I'm doing art school, but then I'm already making money, like doing political cartoons and doing that. And I ended up working for them for about 4 years. I ended up doing 5 years in college because I had felt, and this is what I fell out of art school. I never did the assignments.
Wow.
I lost my like financial aid. It was just like, I literally fell out of this thing I had been accepted to. I had to pay back all this money. And then, and it's just me and my dad. My mom passed away when I was 16. So it's like,
sorry to hear that.
on the road,
No.
making money, doing our business, like in Southern Utah, where so like from the time of 16 all the way through college, I see my dad maybe once, twice a week.
Right.
Very supportive, but like
Wow.
he's got to do everything to like maintain a household. And you're older, like you got girlfriends, you're doing things, you're living I was living at my fraternity house my senior year. Like you're not in a house anyways. You're just, you're both got your own lives. But I mentioned that because to also be hit with this, like you lose all your money, you got to pay back that whole semester. It was just like, oh crap, like what am I gonna do? And my dad's like, go into communications, or he's like, you got to figure like. He didn't say go into communications. He basically said, listen, you can be the best artist in the world. You can have all the degrees in art, but if you don't know how to talk to people and communicate,
Smart. Okay.
then you're never going to go anywhere. So I had a mentor at the time, and he was actually in the communication field. He was like 4 or 5 years older. And so that was an easy transition to go, hey, like, this makes sense. Like I like people. By the way, you 3 guys, this is the most I've talked to strangers since March. Like,
There you go.
now
We're bringing people out of the house.
We're honored.
I'm serious. Like I've talked to a few of my friends here and there, and like, of course our neighbors, but going from like conventions every weekend.
Right. You're probably used to talking a lot.
Thousands. Oh, and I love talking. But
Yeah, we've had a few artists tell us that.
Yes.
yeah, it's like, I mean, I'll say this, and like for my wife and my kids, I mean, my wife watched me do car sales for so many years that she never saw me on holidays or weekends. I mean, and there's days, you don't get a day off. Like I got people coming in from out of state, or they just want to come buy a car. Like you're there. Like I'll come in on my day off. And especially my kids are, young, but and I've had a great life being a dad when they were younger, but now like having COVID, like I'm here all the time. Like, want to play Nintendo? Let me finish my stuff. We'll play Nintendo. Where my wife and I have had more time together now than in 12 years.
Wow.
So, like, especially I probably saw them less when I started doing Comic Cons because I'm on the road every weekend. Like you can't see the calendar, but like every 3 days, boom, flight in, start the con on Thursday or Friday, home maybe Sunday night, but most likely late. So I'll probably see you Monday morning. But then
so what you're saying is they're sick of you now.
Now it's like
they're like, get out of here.
Done with you.
Yeah.
No, it's been fun that way. I'm gonna totally diverge, but like going back to the art school thing.
Yeah.
There's very little things that I learned in art school, and I try and tell artists that like, yeah, you've got to like hone your craft and get good at like, you know, my high school teacher was like, hey, you're a cartoonist. I can tell you like cartooning, but you need to learn the human figure before you can break it. So I did anatomy class. I thought I was gonna be a doctor for like half a minute. So I did all these anatomy classes, and you know, you're drawing like legs and arms and heads and all this stuff all the time just to study. And then you're like, oh, I'm getting pretty good at this. And so not until you learn anatomy can you truly be a great cartoonist with like, well, this is how an elbow looks when you bend it and the muscles, and you got to understand what's underneath the skeletal, you know, the skeletal features.
Right.
Before you can truly be a great cartoonist and like stretch and pull and do these things, because if you don't know that underneath, that's why like you look at animators, they build a skeleton and they put the muscles on. You look, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a monster or a human, they have to build from the ground up because you have to make it still move and it has to be natural, it has to make sense. So fuck, I'm diverging all over the place. But
no, dude,
it's fine. You have plenty
great.
of time. You're like, I'm just like at home. I haven't talked to anybody else except for my family for like months. Like, yeah, I'm sure.
Dude, it's fantastic.
We open the tap and you're like, yep, let's go. No, that's great.
Well, one of the lessons that it's one of the ones that still is in the front of my mind all the time is I had a teacher, and he basically said we had like it was like a 40-hour drawing or something like that. Okay. So we got it like, I don't know, I'm a procrastinator, but it was over like Thanksgiving break and all that stuff. So I took the paper with me, traveled out to California to see my family out there, came back, and guess what? I never did the assignment. Well, I did the assignment, but I did it like that. When I got home at like 8 o'clock. I stayed up from like 8 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the morning, drawing all these like faces, and then like you could twirl the paper and you can arrange all these faces and like different things on the wall. And it was great. He was like, I think I got like an A- or a B+ or something. But I told him the story of like, hey, I brought this paper, you know, luggage was on it. We shuffled it around. I brought to every hotel we stayed at, blah, blah, blah. And he looked at me and said, I would have given you an A if you would have just put that piece of paper on the wall and put like 14-hour drive or 14-hour drive to California or trip to California. I was like, in like a nice font, made it look good. I was like, what the fuck? You're like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, that's what it got me an A. He's like, you're trying to think of like, I hear this grandiose thing where that would have been the project. Like, the paper had character to it already. And I was like, I got to fake that. And he's like, yeah, you could have, but you didn't. You knew you took that paper with you and brought it back and did nothing until the night before. I'm still giving you a good grade, but that would have got you to the next level. Wow. And so that kind of thing where it's like, there's no rules to art. There's no way to get from A to B and C to D and how to make money and, you know, anything. Like, it's like, you can make up the rules as you go. Like, there's some, you know,
foundational stuff, right?
Yeah, for sales and like maybe how to like take a photo for like your website, but ultimately like get creative, like think outside the box. You gotta like, you know, try something different.
Speaking of thinking outside the box, like how did you then come up with this idea? What I have behind me here.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going.
With Hand Over the Hero. Like, how do you come up with something like that?
So until my life got super busy with stuff, I'd always draw people Christmas cards, birthday cards, cards, you know, greeting cards. And so that was my thing. And what's up, girl?
Yo, baby.
Yo. What you need? I'll say hi.
I need to put this sticker on with this suit.
I need to put, on your Lego?
It's so big.
Okay.
Hi, everybody in the chat, say hi.
That's my artist.
Hey, artist.
Oh, an artist.
She wants me to put stickers on her Legos. Huh.
Heck yeah.
You want to go get it and I'll do it right now?
No, I want want to bring it down.
You don't want to bring it down here? Okay, cool. I'll see you after. Okay.
No, I don't want
No, I can't do it right now.
Yeah, do it live on the stream. That'd be
Bring
fun.
it down, I'll do it for you. Anyways,
Let's see you multitask. This would be
Hands
great.
on.
Yeah.
so cool. Like, at the end of the day, like I'm never ashamed of these guys. Like these are like those are my greatest creations. So
Right.
they're
That's awesome. So I'm about a week away from having my first. So
oh my god, dude, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What do you
yeah,
having?
next week, man, and we're having a daughter. We're having a little baby girl. I'm
Oh,
very
that's-
excited, man. So
That's so cool.
to see you interact with your kids is kind of how I want to be, you know, where
Oh,
just,
you're sweet.
you know, sweet and nice and just a
Don't
friend
worry.
as well, you know.
There you go.
Sometimes I'm like, ah!
Sometimes,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure I'll get there, but yeah.
At
That's
the end of the
great.
day, dude, like losing my mom at a young age, like life is short, and that's so cliche, but it's very true. We all have struggles as parents. Like you think you got it nailed, and you're like, ah, crap, no, I don't have it nailed. And like you're always trying new things, but like you'll see, and I'll tell you this: the moment you see your daughter, within that first like moment to like even 2 months, take note of her personality, because a lot of the things that she does then will be the same thing she does years down the road and for her life, which sounds so
Dang.
crazy, but her
That's
facial
wild.
expressions, like even though like the first picture I took of her when she was born is still how she is today, like pulled the like breathing tube thing over her face or whatever. She's like, don't take a picture of me. She's still the same way. Like, I don't want a picture, Dad. Like, it's so weird. Like little what the hell?
That's fun.
So going back, and then and honestly, like I feel extremely lucky because my son's creative in different ways, but like she is cut from the same cloth. Like she sits down, she loves all the movies I do. Like, I mean, I haven't shown her Back to the Future yet, but like I put Ghostbusters
Good
on
one.
and she like, let's watch, like she was like, damn, I was like, this is in your DNA. Like there's no reason she should even have any love for this without even seeing it. She's like, I want to watch that. That looks cool. Like, is it scary? I'm like, oh, it's fake.
Is it scary?
You know, like when that library in the very first the
Sure.
ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is creepy. Don't get me like, I love that they did the new one, and I'm excited for the new one. But like, it didn't look good to me. It looked so CGI that you're like, man, the old
Right.
one was just
Well, the old one is like you can tell it's kind of real. Like they actually used a real figure, and
Right.
yes, like it's
And the
not
Scary.
claymation and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. Like,
Yeah.
and don't like you got the dog. You know, it's stop motion. I understand that they
Of
can
course.
polish it.
but it's
At the end of the day,
tactile.
But yeah, like I'm all like, yeah, I've got what's his name, Baker's book over there, like all the like, you know, Werewolf from London and like all that
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
Nice.
Dude,
I know.
I'm all about like if it's real, it's real. It's like, yeah, you know the werewolf's fake, but it's like, but they really
Right.
made the werewolf. It's real. Like they were interacting with
Like you
it.
don't get it. There actually, I was on screen with them.
It's not a
Yeah.
green.
Well, and the
Exactly.
cool, like if you go to Universal Studios, they have a whole like horror makeup. I don't know if you've ever been to the one in Florida, but they've got a horror makeup type of thing where they
Oh.
actually they have the animatronic of the werewolf like extending the face
Oh,
and
God,
turning
nice.
it. Oh yeah, and they talk about how they went into creating that, and then how they made the sound effects for it, where they're like taking the like celery and cracking the bones and stuff. Oh, it's pretty gnarly, man. I love it.
Hold on.
No worries.
I love how much like Meg is enjoying this. She's like, yeah, of course. She knows all about this,
Well, let's take a look
With
at the
her kids?
collectibles here.
right? Oh, look at this. That's
Oh
a
my
monster of a thing. Look at that.
God.
That's Rick Baker's book. That's like his whole thing.
Dude, oh
Nice.
my God.
Huge. It's, I mean, this thing weighs, I think it's like almost 40 pounds. It's crazy.
Nice.
It's crazy. But
The-
he came to New York Comic Con, and wasn't able to pull away from my booth or anything.
Ah,
But he was signing there when the book came out. And I
right.
was telling my friend at Reno Comic Con, we were out there. It was one of the last cons. It was in November of last year. And I was talking about it. I looked up on Amazon, and it was like 40% off. I was like, I bought myself a Christmas gift, and it showed up right before
Nice.
Christmas. But that thing is insane to have that. He's a guy that kept all of his things when he was a young guy. His
That
family was very
helps.
supportive,
That's
like,
awesome. Yeah.
prosthetics on us and stuff. You got, what is it? Where's the sticker?
Hey, where's the stickers?
Yeah,
Oh!
where's the stickers?
Get out of here! Get out of here! We need stickers.
How old are you?
We need stickers on them.
Thank you.
We're seeing art in real life.
Yes.
Lies.
Lies.
I'm saying all the best things about you.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh, it's fantastic.
I gotta strive to be like this
No,
guy.
dude, no. You're very sweet. So, okay. Going back to how this all started with hand over
Yeah,
the
how
hero.
this all started. Yeah. What? Over the hero.
So we basically set it up. My wife, so this goes back to cats. My friend got us. I wouldn't go to that part. We have a cat, and my wife and I would always joke way before kids. This is like over 10 years ago. She'd always joke and say, "Hey, can we take our cat Gypsy on a date with us? Can we take her to the pool with us?" We brought her home her home sushi one time, just like, you know what I mean, like, "Hey, we're going to the pool. Let's take Gypsy," just as like this. It's just us two and the cat.
Right.
Yeah.
So for like Valentine's, I drew me handing over the cat, and inside it said, "Take the damn cat." And, you know, and that was like the whole, and the cat's like, "What the hell?" And no big deal.
That's
I got
cute.
hundreds of cards for my wife, and so just went on the shelf, you know, with everything else. And then I went to the Salt Lake Comic-Con here the very first year. You know, my friend's like, "You should do it." Like, I walked in, I was like, "Oh, this is what a Comic-Con's like." Like, I didn't know there was vendors. I had no idea there was comic creators. I literally didn't know the whole scene. You walk down aisles.
Right.
And I was like, I got to do this next year. And there's a part of me that saw some artists that were there, and I was like, if that person can do it, I think I can do this.
Right.
And nothing
Right?
like against their art or anything, but just
Right,
like,
sure.
showed up, like, I can
There's some
show up.
people.
Yeah. So for that next year, I signed up. I had a really good friend named Kat Martin. She's on Instagram as well. And she was like, "You got to do this. Like, you got to do it." So I ended up signing up, and it was like 8 to 12 weeks before the convention. I don't have anything to sell. I mean, I have like all my old political cartoons. Like, I literally was like, I have no
You just
idea.
show up. You're like, oh.
Well, so I'm sitting there in my little like nook in our old house and in our basement, and I look up and I saw that card with, you know, the cat being handed over, and I was like, that would be so funny if I put Admiral Akbar,
Right.
this dude, being handed over. Like we went to the I call it Star Wars Land, but Galaxy's Edge, and got these like. But it's
That's
like
awesome.
What if Vader was holding, you know, Admiral Akbar? It was like, it was a trap.
It
No,
was.
oh, that's funny. So I drew it. And then my like way down on my Instagram, it's like 7 years ago, like it's on there. And then I'm like, oh, like what's the Ninja Turtles? You know, and it was me holding them, and not until like I did the bad guys, it was like, oh, like the Ninja Turtles are holding Shredder, and you know, and
Right.
so I did like, you know, I only had like 12 designs, and went to the convention. And here's going into another in-depth story about the convention. No one paid for like the corner spots were like $100 more. And so when I had signed up, because it wasn't like early when I signed up, this corner spot near the front door was still available. So I was like, well, I'll take that.
Sure.
I still remember bringing my art desk down there. Like I was going to freaking do art in the middle of all this and everything. And wood cut out of one of my characters, Teddy the Yeti. He's my original character, and brought him. And it was all fun and stuff. We had a banner I made, and because I have a printing business. But we put our, and and this is where it goes back to like pricing and stuff. I walked around, I was like, oh, that guy's doing stuff for like $20, $10, $5. I'll just do my stuff for $10, you know? So on the business side, looking back, I wish I would always raise my prices, but ultimately $10, like, oh, that's affordable. Everyone's got $10, like the $5 pizzas from Little Caesars or whatever.
Sure.
And,
As well.
which started in Utah, which is crazy. But so like the con opens, and I remember like all the tables are like stacked right next to each other. And so basically everyone's supposed to walk to get out of your booth, walk through my booth to leave.
Oh, I hate that.
And I've been at other conventions where they still kind of do that, but all the artists are pretty respectful and whatever. But I had like these guys, if I saw them today, I wouldn't even recognize them. But they were like 3 or 4 tables down. My neighbor was really nice, but 4 or 5 tables down. And they kept walking through my stuff. And I had turned my table because I wanted more of an open corner to my spot. and they were like, you can't have your table like this. And they obviously had done some conventions. I'm here like, I'm a rule breaker, but I know the rules and no one had stopped me. And,
Right.
Right.
you know, cause I more wanted a display, like a little tower of grid wall to hold my stuff all framed.
Sure.
And cause I wasn't sitting there sketching. Anyways, it was kind of this contention. And like, I was like, I have my daughter here, you know, she's like 9 months old, 10 months old. And like my family's down here. And it was just kind of it kind of off-putting because at Salt Lake, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, not a Friday, Saturday, Sunday convention because they don't do the Sunday thing.
Right.
So come Friday morning,
Yeah, I
they
guess
had
that makes sense.
they had moved stuff down, and I was like, these guys touched my tables.
Whoa.
I
Yeah.
figured it was them. So I went to the organizer and I was just like, hey, there's a little contention. These guys need to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes, it seems like. So what can we do? And it's crazy because I'm still now friends with this, you know, who organizes the convention, like the floor and stuff. She's like, move your stuff out. And I was like, okay. Because you know there's like at this time there was a curtain between the two
Right. There
sides.
is usually. Yeah.
Right.
And so they had me move my stuff like out farther into the main walkway. And I'm like, okay. She's like, no, keep moving it. I was like, okay. So I kept moving my stuff. And so by the time I moved it out like 5-6 feet. So it's almost like I almost had like an island. So right when you walked in the front door, you look to the left and you cannot not see my, like, well, not my banner because my banner's still on the thing, but like you can see my tower of like,
Right.
you know, I framed them all. And you can see my like character there cut out. You know, he's big wood. He's like 3 feet tall. And so it just kind of drew people's attention. I'm right across from X96 DJ booth. So it's like there's music there. Like it's just a good weekend.
So that's really worked out in your favor.
So
I'm actually scrolling through your Instagram now, and I came across your Yeti guy already.
that's
Nice.
that's at my first con.
Aw, Wonder Woman.
Hey.
No, that's my dad. Like he's such a sweetheart. So
Well, Meg will like that. She's in our chat right now. She loves Wonder Woman.
nice. So if there's any questions, like please, like shut the hell up, Tony. Like if you have questions coming from people, please, I don't want to.
I don't think we want to interrupt you.
I
This
know.
is
I'm like,
good
oh,
stuff.
I mean, there are some
This is
questions, but keep going. That's a good story.
Less work for us.
I like hearing. I like hearing beef between people. That's always fun too.
And this is what I was gonna say. Like right place at right time is I was just kind of naive to the whole thing. So that's when they moved. I was like, hey, can I move my stuff out? I wasn't trying to be contentious with them. I was just kind of like, why do you guys have to get out of their booth every 5 minutes? It was just kind of one of those weird things. Like, I'm not trying to fight you. I just don't understand. Can you crawl into your table? They didn't want to. So again, it just wasn't, they solved the problem. They said, and there was a thing for their convention where they realized like, we got to space the tables out a foot or so people can get away. And that's what they did. Is they ended up moving all of us down a few feet.
Okay.
So that middle section for where those guys were could get out. And maybe those guys are listening like that asshole, but
Who cares?
it was us. We're coming. So anyway,
Our cool doodles didn't sell, man.
So we end up having like a killer Friday. Like it was bonkers. I mean, I did really well in car sales, but all of a sudden you make a couple thousand in an afternoon. And you're like, from $10 prints, I didn't even sell stickers back. I had stickers, but I had just a couple designs, and the people were like, "What are those?" I'm like, "Oh, they're stickers." They're just on the back table. I don't even think I really sold that many because I didn't push them.
Right.
Where now it's like that's a lot of my business is my designs and stickers. But I remember staying up Friday night and drawing this baby Groot, which I still have to this day.
Baby Groot.
Baby Groot, and like because no one really had a baby Groot, especially how I drew it. And it just like that next Saturday, like I stayed up till 6 a.m. I got about 45 minutes of sleep, woke up, and then went right to the con with my dad. My dad is like been my spokesman, hustler. Like people that know me at conventions know my dad. The people,
Right.
It's like people go, "Hey, where's your dad? Where's your dad?" Because it's like he'd travel with. I only did like 4 or 5 shows when I was still working full time. I did like Denver and
Right.
Me Too and Salt Lake and Silicon Valley Comic Con.
Ooh, that's
And
my
like a couple-
Comic Con. Nice. Silicon Valley
Yeah,
Comic Con.
that's-
Nice.
The Salt Lake. The guys that own Silicon Valley. The two of the guys live here in Utah. So I'm in
do
contact
they?
with those.
Oh, very nice
they're
to
nice.
know.
They are tech guys.
They are very yes.
They got some coin.
Yeah.
But so that like it just kind of showed us like, damn, like fantastic fan base. that was so much fun. So, getting into Denver and getting these other shows and like taking on the road and like, the logistics of that's where it kind of like exploded. So that's why like, it's funny. I have friends like 100,000, 200,000 followers. And like, I just passed the 10, I got like 13, but it's like, I have such a good hardcore group of fans that like, I cannot be more appreciative of.
Yeah.
So that's, like that started from back at that first show in Salt Lake. And that's basically where the whole Hand Over the Hero concept came from, as our cat, the card, and now it's just like, spun off. And my neighbor, he actually works for Warner Brothers, and he's doing a big triple star, whatever. He's doing it's the Harry Potter game. He's working on the damn Harry Potter.
That's the triple star. I think that's
triple A.
Anyways, but
triple A, I don't know.
He's the one. Yeah, triple A title, whatever. So he's the one that said to me,
it's my insurance. I don't know.
There you go. His staff or his coworker. Yeah, AARP.
Sir.
He's our old man of the group.
Nice. So he had said to me, he's like, hey, my guys in my studio were talking about your stuff, and he's like, to take all these different characters of all these different, genres and fandoms and stick them in the same, make them, work in that same template of what you're doing. He's like, that's an art direction. It's cool you've done that. And I was like, dude, I've been doing this for like 7 years. I never even looked at it that way. Like I never considered it I guess I know I have my style, but like it's obviously changed over those years. But inside that framework of the characters being handed over, I never really realized like that's first. I guess he's like, that's difficult to do, and I was like, I've always done that. I didn't know any different. So
sure.
Like not every character works. I'm gonna make some changes here and there, but that's what makes it grow. But ultimately, like for some people at cons, like can you do it without the hands? I'm like, well, it's kind of my thing, and it's kind of the whole brand. And I'm like, you don't like it, that's cool. Like you don't have to like it. Like that's fine. Like there's lots of people I follow. Like I don't want to buy that and put it in my house, but I love your art.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I have kids, I can't put them in my house. Like,
right.
Or whatever. So, anyways, and I'm done. Period.
That's hilarious. No.
Whew, all right, so that's 45 minutes, boys. Should we wrap it up?
Wait, no, later. No, we do have some questions in the chat though. So
Yeah,
I'll let Alex throw you some here.
Well, I know that Night Bodega Manny, good friend of the show, he wrote in a question a while back.
Yeah.
He said, I always wondered why you used a Rubik's Cube on Pinhead's artwork.
Oh, damn. Nice. That's a good. Okay. So everything is like, I'm a cartoonist. Like I want that funny, like, haha, like going back to my greeting card days and like, something to make you chuckle. So his whole thing is like, he has the cube that releases him.
Right.
So I was like, how funny
so
would be
Rubik's Cube would be. Okay.
Rubik's Cube. He's like, I can't figure this shit out. And he's kind of black
good.
and white with the red anyways, like he's black and white. And so he's got this like colorful cube. He's like, shit, I can't figure this out. Like, what the hell?
That's a good idea. All right.
That's fantastic.
That was a good question too. Thanks, Manny.
That's cool.
I know I saw another question in here. I'm sorry. Well, I guess that you kind of already answered this, but this is from, hey, Mr. Ozario. it's what is it? I don't know.
It's Mark. His name is Mark.
Yes. What got him, or what got you to start working on Hands Over Your Hero series? I believe you kind of already
did. Yeah, I think you took so long to answer it that some people had forgotten. They're like, wait, hold on. We're talking about conventions and beating people up and something about your dad, and I don't know.
All right.
Tell that very first story about the cat. I think that's what they're asking.
That's okay. Yes. Now I remember the cat.
Basically, like I drew the cat being handed over on this greeting card with like, here, take your damn cat. So my wife would always ask me to do. And then years later, I had thought like needing that something idea for like doing the stuff at Comic Cons. And I thought of Admiral Akbar, like, oh, it was a trap. And then having Vader hold him. And it's weird that tagline on off my whole series.
It's amazing though. Yeah.
What's amazing is that it took you years, and then it was almost like a Hollywood moment, a movie moment, really, like where the hero's like, I'm struggling, I don't know what to do, and he looks at this old photo from like the past, and it inspired you, and it inspired this whole series.
That's what it was. Yep.
That's very neat.
Very
Well,
cool,
there you
man.
go.
So you've done sounds like just about every Comic-Con out there. Do you have a favorite?
New York Comic Con, for the sheer fact of the city you're in. And I got to take my wife this last year, which was awesome. She's a killer salesperson. Like, it's crazy because that's not how she was when I met her, but she just like had a blast. I can trust her to run the booth by herself. But taking her out there, having our own trip together, and then the sheer volume of people, it was the largest convention. It passed San Diego last year. I mean, it was
really,
yeah, it passed San Diego.
I
mean, it's just like a sea of people. It just like never stopped, And so like now that we're in, COVID land, it was just they're going to finish the Javits Center and they were going to make it like expand it. They put the artist alley. It used to be on the side, but then they went under the basement. Yeah. And then they're like, now that this whole section was going to open, they're basically going to like open up like 40,000 more tickets. I mean, it just would have been unstoppable. So not that can't happen. It hasn't been come off this year, but like probably next year, whatever happens. That city it's crazy because you leave that convention and you walk out on the street and immediately New York doesn't even know it's happening.
What's going on there?
That's so bizarre to me.
It's like stepping out of Doctor Strange's apartment,
100%. It's so wild. So it's just like, the streets stink. Let's get a taxi. Let's go get some, like, you know what I mean? It's New York. It's like, that's the beauty of that city. Flip side, and there's a lot of other conventions I love. I love there's just a lot of great ones. Like, going to San Diego. Yeah. And, I got in officially this year, but but the last 2 years I flew down there with no table. And I was the only person to get an empty table in all of Artist Alley last year.
You lucked out.
Oh, jeez.
Twice.
Wow.
Twice. I put that on my Instagram stories. It's up on my highlights from the first year. And then to go down again, everyone's like, you're not going down there again to do that. I was like, yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
I literally got the only table. Like, there was one table that was left open and I got it. And like, those guys are just fantastic to take me in. Cause you feel like you're doing everything the right, like I'm here, like I'm early, like I love people. I'm so like, I'm like, cause it's crazy going to San Diego and you'll look down the Artist Alley and guys won't show up until noon or, they're some of them are doing panels. I understand that, but some people are just like, they live there. They've been in it for so many years. They don't give a shit. So like, they're like, I do this every year.
Makes sense.
And it's weird to like go. And I'm like, I mean, I made a ton of sales right when the doors open. Cause it's like, there's no one on my row but me. And so they see me like, hey, what's up? And they can like fill around my table. Cause you have like 4 feet of space. It's teeny, but it's like weird to be like, you're all the way. Like my one neighbors, they're so sweet, but they're from Japan and the time changed. I don't think they flew in enough time or whatever. I was like, you got into this convention, you brought all this stuff, and it's like they would leave at like 2-3 o'clock and it goes till 7. I'm like, why are you leaving? He's like, oh, my wife's tired. I was like,
dang,
go to sleep on the floor. Like, you're here in San Diego. Like,
do you not get it?
Right.
Exclusives. I know some people use it for different things. I understand, but like, I was like, what the hell? Like, so I don't know. That's how I thought. So the fact that I was able to get in a couple of years, just doing what I did was awesome. So hopefully for next year, I've just talked to them. They're rolling everybody over. So we'll have our same spot. I got a corner spot, which is cool.
Nice.
The corner spot is a choice because it can get bombarded in there, and it's really tough to like pass over somebody if, like, say, one person's booth is crowded, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna skip over that person next to them because there's too many people at that other booth. Yeah,
well, I felt bad. Nice. I had a line that formed because it's just hard because there's only so much space in front of your table.
Yeah,
I have like, if I go to a con with all my designs, I have like 150 designs, and so on a 4-foot table, I can really only put out like maybe like 25 characters, and my banner has to be at like 7 feet, nothing higher. And so I'm like, hey, do you want to see? I have this design. I'm like, you want this? I'm like, I'm up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, which is fine. But then I got this line around my booth, and I felt bad for the guy next to me. But he's got his head down, just drawing sketch covers. Like he didn't give a shit.
Right.
He's
like, I already got paid, so you can go.
So cool. Yeah, it's so cool. So the fact they put me in the corner, anyways. But then COVID.
Yeah, right.
That's how we ended.
So speaking of, what are you doing about that right now? Now that you're in lockdown for the last few months.
So it's been. I honestly, when it first started, everything was shut down. I really spent a lot of time with my family, like a lot of Nintendo with my son, my daughter.
Nice.
Like, I got 5 and 7-year-old dude. Like, it's hard to like being here working and then like, you want to play Mario Kart? Yeah. All right. We're only doing 4 rounds. And then all of a sudden it's like,
and all of a sudden it's like the next day.
So,
we have to do Rainbow Road again.
I know. Yeah, I know. Oh my God. But having 2 kids at home and both, young, but still in school. And then my wife doesn't work. So we both had to tackle each kid and whatnot. So now it's like, all right, things are kind of getting back to like a normalcy as far as like workload. So I have a lot of good fans that commission me. So I've got orders to fill. I did a Cookie Monster for San Diego Comic-Con. That was a limited edition. And then my John Wick, which went over extremely well. I've only got a few left.
Yeah.
So did you get one?
I didn't, but I've been looking at it and it's awesome.
So typically my prints and my stickers have always been like an open series. I don't know when I'm going to go back to the conventions. I just figure, hey, I've done limited editions, so I'm just going to do the sticker and print together. He was like, it's $50. I'm never printing them again. Once all 50 are sold, it's done. Like, I'm never going to print it again. I have my own sticker company. Like, we're done. Like, I can do that. And so to have like this, everyone else loves Keanu Reeves. They're doing a 4th movie. He did the stuff at San Diego Comic-Con on his interview. Like, it was just like the perfect storm of like, people like John Wick. And it's crazy because I ran an Instagram ad to move the last couple of them, and they took it down after like 4 or 5 hours on the ad because of like abusive stuff. And I was like, do you realize this is a cartoon and he's holding his dog, and it like it's because it like had blood on it or something? And I was like, I was laughing.
Right.
They didn't take down the post, but they took down the ad. And then like I appealed it, and then the appeal was like, we're not changing our mind. And I'm like, really? Like, this is so stupid. I was laughing.
It happens.
Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
Now I see that you've got this. What is this? U2s?
Mm-hmm.
Would you be able to? Sorry.
That's a good story.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So remember, I told you about my friend named Kat, the girl that said, "Hey, you should do Comic-Cons," and like ended up basically one of the besides my wife, like pushing me to do the first Comic-Con. So she hauled a bunch of stuff out to Denver Comic-Con. And by the way, I said New York and San Diego, but like Denver Comic-Con, like Phoenix is awesome. Obviously Salt Lake, that's where it all started. Calgary up in Canada. Like, I have so many great stories about all the cities because I don't want to, like, it's not always about the 2 big ones. Like, Calgary is one of my favorite shows for sure. Like, there's some of the best food in the world up in Calgary. So yeah, there's a lot of other like conventions that I love. But going back, she hauled a bunch of stuff to Denver. I was like, hey, what do you want? I got to do something for you. She's like, hey, draw me Bob Ross. We'll make a huge sticker of it, put it on my side of my painting van or whatever. I was like, done. So of course, me being me, and she's like, just take your time. It took me like a year to get it done, which was stupid. But I took that design. I printed like 40 stickers, and like I brought like 20 prints of Bob Ross to Denver Comic-Con. Again, this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I was the only person there with Bob Ross stuff, and I sold out within like a day and a half. I was like, holy shit.
You got lucky, yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. I called my buddy Matt. I was like, dude, you gotta like overnight me stickers. He's like, what? I'm like, I'm sold out. Like, it was like unreal. So artists were coming up like, are you the Bob Ross guy? I was like, what? Like, no.
Well, and
like,
now Bob Ross is like a fad.
So that hit before like the younger generation had kind of taken up, and it was on YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff.
Right.
Like this was before that. It was kind of when that was starting. So no one literally in this convention hall had a Bob Ross, and I only did it because my wife got like 40 chicken nuggets, and she's like, "Do you want to eat interview?" Because she's gonna make lasagna. She's like, "You still want lasagna?" I'm like, "I'm stuffed." Side note, she makes
we love food, so that's okay.
So, anyways, back. At San Diego Comic-Con last year, I'm at the Embassy Suites right down the street from the convention hall, and I'm at breakfast, and I'm filling up my water bottle with my stickers on it. There's like a Toothless and a Bob Ross, and I'm filling up my water bottle with ice. And this guy behind me is like, "Hey, where'd you get that sticker?" And I'm like, "Oh, I made it." He's like, "What do you mean you made it?" I'm like, "Oh, I made the sticker and the art." He's like, "You should come to my table." Like totally Sopranos, like,
you should come to my table.
You need to come with me. I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Oh shit. What I do?
He was nice. So it's
come
weird.
with me if you want to draw.
Yeah, like the fact that I had the bottle facing that way, just like where he saw it, was crazy. So yeah, I go to his table, and he whips out this massive book, and he opens it, and it's all this Bob Ross merchandise. And he's like, "I'm the official license holder for Bob Ross." And I was like,
"Oh
no!"
Like,
oh,
that's so cool. I'm like, "I have this idea," and I just started going off like, "Boo!" Like this tree, and da-da-da-da. And he's like, okay. He's like, "I'll stop by your booth." So I think it was like, I can't remember if it was Saturday night or Sunday night, but it was, I think it was Saturday night, because I think that was Friday that happened. But he comes by my booth like 15 minutes before they close. And within that 15 minutes, I think I sold like 6 or 7 Bob Ross stickers like that. And he was like, so I told him, I was like, "He's one of my best sellers." Like, whatever. He's like, "Well," we talked back and forth. He's like, I need a cartoon version of him. We have 2 designs that are approved, but I love your design. It's different. It's cartoony. Still talking. Can you believe that?
We're gonna need you to give us royalties.
You want to come do it with me? Was Hallie still here? Okay.
Looks like the chat is blowing up with Bob Ross now.
Yeah, there's a lot of Bob Ross.
Okay.
In
So-
the chat. That's funny.
I'm talking about Bob Ross. That guy. Hey there. Oh, will you grab that for me? Under the Totoro. He is going to have a baby girl in like a few days. So there's the...
There he is.
Bob Ross!
People always ask me,
dude.
like, who's
That's
holding him?
fantastic.
And I'm like, "Oh, the producer, it's God. I don't know." Like,
I don't
'cause
know.
So I basically said, like, "Well, like, what do you do conventions? Da, da, da. We're kind of just talking." And he's like, no. Like, my stuff, I'm the license holder. Like, all my stuff's in like Target, like Hot Topic. Well, anything you see with
Right.
Bob Ross, that's me. And I was like, "Oh shit."
No
talked to
way.
Yeah, it was crazy. I tell this story because, and this is where as like an artist or anyone in life, but like you gotta like tell your story. Like I told him my idea. Like I thought about having a tree hold him, and it's like all like, because he's all like everything talks about trees and da da da. And he's like he's like, "Oh, this is cool, and we got to figure out how to do this." And he's like, "Here's my card. I don't do shit with it. All right, I don't do anything with it. That's okay. So the year just gets busy, and until like winter comes around and there's some dead time, I really hadn't thought of like how I should approach it. But let's see, is it November? Yeah, end of November was Designer Con
Yeah.
down in Anaheim.
Love Designer Con.
This guy, I say kid, they're young, but they're younger than me. Very cute, super cute. His cousin sleep overnight. This guy approaches me. He's like, Austin's like, in his young 20s, and he's like, "Hey, I love your stuff. I've been following you. I want to get some pieces, and I want to get this piece. And we started talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm from." He didn't really like front it, like, "I'm with U2s," and I was like, and then when he said it, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I just, looked on Instagram, and I'm like, "Holy cow! Like, these guys are like popular."
Yeah.
And there's some clout there. It's not like there's like
Right.
they're not faking their growth. Like, he's like, I'm like, how long did it take you to get this big? He's like, oh, like a year and a half, roughly.
Oh my God.
But then they have like a real product. And I'm like, what's your thing? And he's like, well, we kind of do the meme thing. You know, we take memes and we can turn products really quick and make them toys. And we do like limited editions and this and that. And like, I was like, well, I have this idea for this Bob Ross. And I told my idea, like, I thought it'd be so cool. And do you know Alex Solis, Alex MDC on Instagram? I almost 100% you've seen his stuff because it's always viral. He does all the album covers for, what's his name? Tech 69 Tech. What's the rapper kid with all the rainbow hair?
I forget.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Takashi, whatever. So he's a good friend of mine. He's a really good friend of mine, and he'd always bug me like, you got to do a toy. You got to do a toy. So when this guy's standing there, I'm like, this Bob Ross idea, like with the tree, like I've always wanted to do this. He's like, okay. He's like, let's talk. He bought a bunch of stuff from me, and I still remember he's like, hey, can I get this frame, like this piece? It was like, a couple $100s worth of stuff, and then he walked away. And knowing my sales, I didn't like take a payment from him, and I was like, is this guy going to be one of those guys that just like says he's this and that and then walks away? And he came right back. It was like, let me pay you for those. And I was like, okay, I like this kid, like this guy. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's those people you kind of get that read from, and he like immediately was like, no, I'm supporting you. Like, I want this stuff in our office. Like, I want this. So over like the winter, I got this new sketch with them, and like they're so professional. Like, he's just great, and he just like got back a concept with me, and we went back and forth with the tweaks, and like we'll have his leg like this and tweak his arm and do this with the paintbrush, and I want to add some what do you call it, birds and I say a lot. So they were just great to work with. And then to say, hey, we're gonna make it a limited edition, we can't make this small, it's got to be big, it's like 12 inches. That's where it was like, holy cow. And I'm excited to see what we'll do in the future because they have some more ideas.
Oh, nice.
But that's where it came from. So I tell the story of like with the guy in San Diego because it's like that's where the thing got started. But then to have them come through and say, because there's truly been a handful of people who said, hey, sign this contract, we'll make a toy for you. But like they don't follow through. They're not serious. They really just don't have the capital. They don't have the business structure to have these guys come through and say, hey, send us your stuff. They do within like, weeks. They have a full turnaround, colored. It's like, they're the real deal. Like they're there to make money. They're there to like move product and get licenses. And they're working so hard that to make a new brand that's not Funko, because Funko can't move so fast, as these guys. Like they're smaller. And anyways.
Makes sense. Yeah.
That's amazing though. That's it. And I had seen them before. I guess they did a whole like YouTuber series where they did a bunch of YouTubers.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's wild that like I've probably seen that product somewhere through all these YouTubers as well.
Yeah, like they sent me a bike. I mean, you've got like their little alien.
Yeah, Elvis the Alien.
There you go. Love that guy.
And then Mini Lad. I'm not gonna lie. He sent this to me. I was like, "Who the hell's that guy?" And then most of the guys they did, I'm like, "I don't know who those people are." And I feel like I'm in the know, but then you're not in the know, and you're like,
I'm like, you feel old. You're like, oh, I'm old.
Oh my gosh! But I mean, I've got little kids, so all I hear about YouTube stuff, besides the stuff I watch, is like Ryan's toy review, and like, you have kids you know what I'm talking about, but like. That kid's got his toys in Walmart and shit like that. He's like, I think he's like one of the top like money makers as far as kids YouTube. So
yeah,
it's like,
that's crazy.
These kids are making millions on YouTube. It's ridiculous, man.
It's crazy.
I was born in the wrong generation. That's for sure.
Same with me, man. I should have been born back in the 50s so I could have enjoyed the 80s a little bit differently.
Well, I can tell you, it was fun in the 80s.
Everything's coming back though.
I know, man. I love it.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Well, cool. So, just to jump back to more art stuff, your out of all of the Handover heroes, what was your favorite?
There's a lot. Some of my favorites that I haven't even drawn yet, which is so stupid to say, but like I have these really good ideas. I'm like, I got to do this. My Stan Lee, that's
a good one. Yeah.
All right. You want another story?
Yes.
We love
Okay.
this first.
If I'm serious, if there's questions, throw them in there too. I know
Okay.
I'll draw the answer for forever, but if
Sure.
people are like, I know how it is to be like, they're not part of the conversation and they're trying to write stuff. So if you want to throw some stuff in, I won't forget.
Yeah, you're
Of
good.
course. Yeah.
No, this
We
was
try
fun
to
chat,
we try
so
to
you're good.
keep these guys in here as much as possible.
So what do they want to know? No, I'll jump back to the Stanley story because that's
Yeah, do the Stanley story. That'd be fun.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's see, how did this play out? Okay, so I drew Stan Lee, and then because he was coming to Salt Lake Comic Con, it's so crazy because he had been to if you look, like he had said like this is the best Comic Con in the world, like he full blown loves Salt Lake Comic Con, like it's, I have a picture, it's black and white, it's on my Instagram somewhere, but like it was when he was in a golf cart and he went right by my booth and I took a picture. It was just kind of cool, but like I never thought like I gotta get something signed by him or anything like that. Like I just didn't. There's a part of me like wishes like, oh, I should get some signatures, but when you're working your booth, it's kind of hard to, you just don't get to step away, and it's not just like you can just run out and get a signature and come back. It's, there's a line and stuff like that. So I just never really cared. I'm like, live in the moment. Like, oh, I saw him, that was cool. So he was coming to Salt Lake. I'm like, I made the piece. I'm like, I'm having him sign this. Like, I want him to sign my original piece because I hand draw them, cut them out, put them on wood. Hold on one second. Like,
The show and tell, man.
I
Show and
love
tell.
show and
It's the
tell,
best.
man.
I say. So there's the Chris Hemsworth story too, but
Nice.
there. I mean, there you go. We'll just jump. It's signed, but he.
So nice.
It's I don't know. I'll hold it up longer so people can see it. So
Nice.
he's coming to Salt Lake. I get the piece done, and he gets sick. They called off like days before. It's when he was going through a lot of the ups and downs, and he did the Zoom call with them. It was really great, and I was like, oh, that's a bummer. So my friend who works down in he does Frankensons down in LA. He's one of my friends, and he was selling my stuff. He's like, hey, I get Stan Lee to sign stuff all the time.
Oh, nice.
Why don't you just send it to me?
Wow.
And I'm like, I want to meet him. Like I'm all about the, I'm about the story. Like I want to, if I met someone I really like, I don't want to just take a selfie. Like I want to like have an interaction and maybe never get the selfie, but like, I want a story, I want that experience. So he's coming to Silicon Valley Comic Con.
That's where I saw him.
So it's one of
That's
his
where I met him,
last,
yeah.
maybe you're at the same one. So it's one of his last signings, truly. This is when
Yeah.
all this stuff was going down with like the guy embezzling the money, his manager guy.
I remember
The guy
this.
with the black hair. So,
Mm-hmm.
so when I went to set up that day, like there's all these ATMs like going down this like line. And I'm like, what the hell? You're doing setup. Everything's just kind of chaotic. And then that day, because that was Friday.
Right.
So one of my customers that I sold a car to, a Mini Cooper, she runs all the volunteers for Salt Lake City Fan X, Salt Lake City Comic Con,
Okay.
and Silicon Valley, because again, those owners are
Right.
from Utah. So she is so great at doing that. She did Silicon Valley. So I was like, hey, I'm bringing this piece down. I'd love to meet Stan. She's like, just text me when you're here. We'll work it out. I'm like, awesome.
Oh
So my
God.
dad's that are with me again. Anywhere I could take my dad before I went full time, I would. And so he's downstairs signing stuff. I'm like, Dad. My dad's in his 70s. Like he doesn't run the square, the chip reader, anything. So he can only take cash. So he's like, just make it quick, So I run down there, and there's like this massive line. Where do you think
there
we are?
was?
Right down where all those ATMs were, because it was all cash. And so you were at that last one then? Where
Yes.
Okay, so you remember how like the line went down, but then like it kind of turned a corner, and then there was that huge box they made with all the curtains, so you couldn't.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm standing there by the curtains, and it's all chaotic, and I'm texting. Her name's Ivy. I'm texting Ivy. I'm Facebook messaging her. I'm not getting her. I'm just like, shit. Like my dad's up there
What
in
do
the
you do?
booth. There's only like an hour left of the con, 2 hours left of the con, and these guys are standing there and they're security and they see me kind of fidgeting because I have my, the box. And like, what are you doing? I'm like, I have this thing for him to sign. And it's almost like, dude, everyone has something for Stan to sign.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm friends with Ivy and I'm an artist. Like, I'm not trying to cut anybody in line. I'm just, I'm trying to organize this. And so I'm waiting and they kind of like make a decision, but they don't. They're like, okay, just wait here, but they're not doing anything for me. And so finally I pull a volunteer aside. I was like, hey, is your manager here? I'm like, what do you want? I'm like, I tell them the story again. I'm like, hey, I got this
What do
thing.
you want?
So they finally like find this lady and I'm like, hey, I'm a good friend of Ivy's. I'm an artist. My dad's in his 70s running the booth. I have this piece for Stan. She said to text her. I can't get a hold of her. She's like, oh, Ivy's putting out a bunch of fires because she's like this volunteer coordinator.
Right.
So I was like, what do you have? And I opened my box up to protect it. And it's that piece I just showed. And she's like, she almost doesn't say anything. She opens the curtain and pushes me in.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And I was like, all right, this is happening. This is happening. So I'm like, 6 people back from where he is, and they just, because they're taking payment and they just give me the ticket because where she pushed me in the line. And at the time, like I had my phone out, okay, I had my phone, and then I had this wearable camera, which sadly I lost before Seattle Comic-Con. Don't take shit up on a plane and play with it and then leave it. And so I had this wearable camera, so I have that going, and then I have my phone out too. And they're basically like, he's not doing so well. He's got like the blanket over him. You can tell he's like slowing down. He's not really talking to people. And I that didn't really click. I saw what was going on, but the adrenaline of like, oh my God, I'm right here. And so as I'm going through the line, they're like, turn your phone off, turn your phone off, turn your phone off. They don't say anything to me. Okay.
wow.
Okay.
So I put out of the box, they move it around. I was like, oh, be careful. It's really fragile. And then the guy's like, and I have the video on my Instagram, but it's like, they're like, oh, did you make this? I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And they pass it out and they're pass it to him and he signs it. It was crazy because he signs it sideways and he didn't even put like the E's. Like, it's funny if you look at it. Like,
it's still,
that's kind of how he was signing stuff. Just like, run, like, but he signs it and he moves on and it was just like, hey, that's me. He hasn't been talking. He's like, that's me. Right. And it was kind of like, yeah, it's you. Like, yeah. And it was so funny because I'm filming it and then they're like trying to gouge people like, oh, do you want an authentic, like little crappy business card, not even a postcard, a business card saying like your stuff's officially signed by Stan Lee. It's $40 cash. And I was like, I got film. I'm like, they're like, you got film of that? I was like, yep. And like went right upstairs. My dad's like, oh my God, you got it. And all throughout the weekend, because you felt better Saturday and Sunday. I had sold so many of my prints because again, no one really had a print of Stan. They did, but like I think mine had resonated with people.
Sure. And
I got a good fan base there from the years before. So they're taking it like what else do you have? Like, I have a Doctor Strange, like, give it to me. Do you have a Captain America? Give it to me. Like, people were having them sign my stuff, but like, it was one of the true times where I was like, oh my God, like a lot of people want to get stuff signed, which I was like, thank you for making it my art that you want signed. But they took the Stan Lee because it's him. And it was so cool to have them come back. I'm like, please come back. I'd love to get a picture with you holding it. And the signatures were almost all different. And some looked better than others. And they're like, he was like, oh my God, that's me. Like he kept saying like, that's so cool. Like that's literally me. And I was like, holy shit, he said that to you? They're like, yeah. And so, then you learn the stories of all the stuff that happened with that manager. And I was like, that was the guy that you can hear in the video that took the piece and pushed it onto him. Like, oh, it's a great piece of art or whatever. And like, he was such a kind dude. And the fact he like had good compliments for my piece was just really, really neat. And so, I did the memorial piece with the halo. I already had it in my head. And when he passed away, my friend wrote me, he's like, hey, it's a buddy that could have got my stuff signed. He's like, hey, Stan just passed away. And I did that piece and put it on Instagram and it just like blew up, like, which was bonkers.
Well, I'm glad you got a chance to meet him before he passed. Because I know we all kind of felt that, like, even in line, I remember talking to people online, people like, I flew from Phoenix, I flew from, New York, because we all thought this is the last chance we'll ever get to meet Stan Lee in person.
For sure.
We all did it live. And sure enough.
I think he did a couple private things.
Yeah, he's done a few things. I mean, I saw him at Comic-Con that same year at a booth, like just randomly. I happened to walk by and he was like right there. I'm like, oh, hey, Stan. Like, it just randomly. But yeah, that was the last time I actually got to take a picture with him.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. I actually just came across your video on Instagram of him signing. Yeah, man.
Yeah, well, you can
Jeez.
like it's
Yeah.
like I had the video, like I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Because I mean, truly, I tell you, like they're like, turn your phone off, and he literally passed me up and like kept saying it. And, like,
That's
it was
interesting.
weird. It was
Right.
weird. It's crazy.
Okay.
Interesting. Wow. Oh, man. Your stories are fantastic, and I love how like just the detail of them all, man. This is wonderful.
You guys are nice. So
I feel like you have like George Burns as God, as your like, little guardian angel behind you, plucking things at your life, like Puppet Master. That's fun. I like it. Do you have any questions in the chat?
I'm asking in the chat right now if there was any questions. I haven't been keeping up with the chat, so.
Did you have any like any requests from a fan that you thought was kind of like too weird, or like what was the strangest request?
my friend and I were talking about that the other day on Instagram. Like, what's a weird commission? So like, there's nothing too wild. People were like, "Hey, will you draw my kid being handed over by me or whatever?" Like, if they want that, like that series, that style. That's not too off the wall. I mean, I'm not like, okay, I'm gonna tell a story again. All right.
Yeah, right.
I was in Miami for the first time, and it was Miami SuperCon before Reed Pop Bottom, but like I can't remember her name. Super cute girl, really strong fan base. She does like anime stuff or whatever, and she's got like it's weird because she has her set up, and it looks like a lot of the girls and guys that do anime, like it's like like 10 prints, and they're all kind of similar style, and but like people are like, but she very
popular.
Very beautiful.
It works, yeah.
Very beautiful girl, and she always had a crowd, and so I just like, what are you like? And I saw her little sign like, I do like hentai and da da da, like all this whole list of like, there's like
oh, that's why she's popular. All right.
So, but she would like, I tell this story because I don't get people requesting really weird stuff, but the story is like, I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, oh, I have like these guys. It can be girls too, but they're like, they just request like really weird stuff. Like, I want Pikachu being boned by this thing or whatever.
Right.
I was like,
wow,
really? And there's part of me
those
like,
people are into that stuff. Yeah.
Whatever. Like, they want their own collection of stuff.
Right.
And trust me, I have people I know now that COVID started that have done like their OnlyFans, Patreons kind of thing, where they're drawing whatever they can to make a buck. And I'm like, no,
God.
Girls doing what I like, whatever. Like, you can go down that.
Desperate times.
But, yeah, she would like. It was just funny having her be like, this guy requested this. And I won't go into what the specifics were. It was cool. But
thank you.
No judgment. Whatever you want, that's cool. But it's just like, oh, really? Like this guy doesn't look like he would be able to talk to you. Like, you're like a slamming girl. Like, you are like you're. And she's no judgment to these guys. And she's like, that guy. See that guy just walked away. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, got the Pikachu. I was like, oh, like it was just like. That's crazy. Like, yeah, every year he has me draw a different, whatever Pokemon getting slammed by this or like.
Right. Oh man.
It was funny, like, and again, like being in the con scene and doing it for as long as I have in all the different cities and being next to different neighbors, you see all stuff. You've been next to booksellers and you're like, oh,
right,
what did that guy buy?
right.
So.
Yeah,
God,
I think it was.
So
I think it was
funny.
that same year at Silicon Valley Comic Con. There was that one artist that had like a ton of nudes out, like just uncovered. Like there's kids here. Like, what is that guy doing, right? Yeah. They ended up kicking him out, I think, that year.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Like,
that was bad.
I get it. Like, and that sells.
And they were realistic. It wasn't cartoony either. It's like, what is
like,
going on? Like, big busty and like, what is going on? So
that's funny.
I hear you. Oh, we do have some questions in the chat, actually.
Yeah,
so we probably should.
So, okay. What artist did you look up to when you were younger?
That's a good question.
This is coming from Mountain Meg.
Let's see. I'm trying to look at my books back there. I don't know if there was one particular artist, because you kind of steal from like, have you guys seen that book?
Steal Like an Artist.
Yeah.
Great Artist Steal.
That too.
Yeah, Austin Kleon, like that. Like that's a great book.
No, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one. Nothing's original. You're always,
exactly.
I do fan art, so it's like, of course, these characters already exist, but like you're always taking from things. So, like, Michelangelo and Leonardo and Rembrandt, like those classically trained things. Like, why did they work Rembrandt? Lots of dark.
Splinter, gotcha. Yeah, Shredder. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I think I was just really influenced, I would say, because again, like you just see like maybe it's like not I'm following one artist. Now you can do that. Like you can truly say like I love Tony's stuff. I love Jake Parker. I love Dominic. Like like I have friends who do this. Like they will be your mentor without them ever knowing you because you can just follow along with what they do. You do. Master copies where you take their piece of artwork and try and redraw it and you understand like why did they do their lines like this? Why did they color that way? Because if you're trying to replicate the colors, you're going to get there a different way than maybe I got there. Your way will look different. That's kind of how you develop your style as well. So back from like, I was more influenced. I mean, I was 83, so I'm like an 80s kid, but I grew up mostly in the 90s. So like watching Samurai Pizza Cats before school started, Power Rangers was right. And I was like, fifth grade-ish, right around there.
I love the Power Rangers, man. White Ranger all the way.
There you go. I kept all my Ninja Turtle toys. The only things I never kept, I gave my cousin all my Legos, which now my kids are all into Legos, which is like a bummer.
I did the same thing early on. Like, damn.
Yeah, and I remember getting into girls around the time, I was in 6th grade, but like, I remember girls coming over to my house. I had all my my Power Ranger stuff out. Like, I gotta hide this shit.
Yeah.
Like I come home and play with Power Rangers. It's just funny looking back, but like that's like I wish I would have kept my Power Ranger stuff. Like I had all the anyways, I'm digressing, but like
it's funny.
I think I was more influenced by like my dad's favorite movie was Back to the Future. Like that's the movies like he was like and I didn't have like those like I don't want to say geeky parents. My mom's favorite movie was Clash of the Titans, like the original. So now that I know, looking back at what I remember about my mom, like she was a nerd. Like she would love the stuff I'm doing now. Like she was always supportive of my art, but my dad's like, "Oh, this movie's so great, and look how funny it is," and da da da. So like things like my mom would get me all these like I had the original Ghostbusters back when I was younger. I think I came back in like 84, so I was 1, so I didn't get to see it till years later. But I was just bombarded with pop culture. Only child. I watched a lot of TV and played Legos and Play-Doh and stuff. So I just kept in kind of the into the circle of pop culture. But I don't know. That's the shittiest analogy. But like
the circle of life.
My mom would take me. They were building a house, and so we lived in this apartment complex, and across the way there was a strip mall, and there was a dollar theater. Well, she would take me over there to play Mortal Kombat 2 in the lobby of the movie theater. She'd give me like $4 or $5 in quarters. She'd, sit there and watch me or just read a magazine while I played Mortal Kombat 2. And then, or she'd take me to the mall just so I could go to the arcade and play the original Street Fighter. And I still remember seeing a kid walk out of the mall with Street Fighter 2 with the SNES cartridge and like that whole picture of Blanca hitting Ryu or whatever, and you're like,
yeah,
like they make a game of it you can take home.
Oh my god!
See, I did the same thing with the Ninja Turtle game when that arcade game was available on the NES. I'm like, oh my god, I can play this game all the time without quarters.
And guess what? My kids are playing out there right now with their cousins. I have the 1-Up arcade.
It was just about the 4-person.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.
I just sold my arcade machine. I had Time Crisis 2 because I wanted to make room for the 4-person Ninja Turtles. Because there was a guy on OfferUp selling it for $250, and I'm like, I have to own that.
Why didn't you tell me about this? I would have bought it.
What you want to do?
I would love to see you put that arcade machine
Where am I gonna
somewhere.
Put it? No, in the bathroom.
Yes.
Sorry, did you you guys playing video games? Go play video games.
You're playing soccer. So I was gonna
Turtle
say,
power.
if you're gonna do this, look up Arcade Mod Up. I think it's Arcade.
All right,
Hold on.
great. Now you're just distracting me.
Arcade Mod. Yep, there it is. Arcade
It's
Mod
like
Up.
having
So-
two Alexes in the chat. Two of you.
So I bought the Mortal Kombat 2 one they had at Costco, and I ended up modding that one. So they'll do an emulator in it, and it's crazy because I did it right before Christmas. So I have the Ninja Turtle one, which is cool for the kids because they can just press off on and whatever and play.
Sure.
But they then I modded the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet, but now they have a mod for the 4-player cabinets. So
Oh heck yeah!
I could have definitely got away with
Dude,
using
The Simpsons. Oh, I love The Simpsons.
So now
Dude.
all the 4-player games that I have on my 2-player system, if I had the whole thing, I would just do the one system, and they could play like Simpsons, X-Men,
Yes.
NBA Jam, like all that stuff.
Yes.
Anyways, but
It's my childhood. Hold on.
if you can find, so all right, going back to the question, there was
What
never
was the question?
never
Which was
truly
this?
one artist. Yeah, I could probably pick up, but there wasn't like, oh, this person like inspired me. You kind of take inspiration from everybody. You know what I mean? And it's movies and it's music and
Right.
you know, I don't want to give. I want to give credit where like things, but like it's like there's so many. I can't think of one. I mean, like that's a shitty answer, but like,
Right.
I mean, there's so many art books back here I have. So obviously there's like, I'm trying to think like what.
Like, did you ever think? Were you a big comic book reader growing up? Did you like go, hey, I want to draw that kind of style, or was it more like you just kind of came into whatever style you came into?
So in Utah here, again, going back to my mom would like, my parents had me really late in life. So like, as a kid, it's like,
Same here.
yeah, what do you want to do? Like, they already have their life together. But
Right.
they,
I hate to interrupt you.
You gotta
I'm
go.
so sorry. Yeah, my wife is telling me that the doctors need to see her right now at 8:30
Oh.
at night. So I gotta go, guys.
Good luck. Just in case.
Great meeting you, Tony. Bye.
Wow. All right. Good luck to Alex, whoever's watching.
No, that's
That's
good
crazy. That is. It could be the day.
So,
Anyway.
all right, what was the question? I forgot.
That's kind of crazy. I don't remember. We're talking about comic books, and you tell us something about your mother and comic books. Awesome.
There used to be a comic store here called Night Flight Comics, and it was in Conwood Mall, which doesn't exist anymore. It was like one of the first malls west of the Mississippi.
Right.
So it was like upstairs in the mall, and my mom would take me there. I just remember going there with her, and she was like, it's crazy because I'm drawing Lobo right now for a commission. And that's one of the first comics I bought was Lobo versus Santa Claus. And I remember my
I
mom,
remember that
like,
issue.
yeah, like it's over there. I still have it. Like, what's that? Like, oh, it's this. She's like, okay. Like it wasn't like there was. My mom was so cool looking back, and I remember going in, like seeing, like I remember it's like when like Rob Liefeld stuff was coming out. I have all my Wizard magazines over there.
Heck yeah.
I started collecting those. So like I had like a good like chunk of comic books. I still have all my original stuff I had from back then. It wasn't a lot though.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. I was picky and choosy too with my stuff, even though I did read a lot.
Yeah, and like I was young, so it wasn't like I was like, oh, I need to go get my
right. As a kid, you don't know that, right? It's like, oh, it's a Wednesday. I think I need to pick up the new issue. You don't know that until you're older, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't like that. It truly, I didn't get back really into comic books until I was married, and I read Preacher, and I needed like I'm older. I wanted some gritty stuff. Like I love Spider-Man. I have all my Spider-Man stuff. Like I love the Venom. I love Carnage. All that stuff. I have a lot of those. But when I got older, I was like, I need some like adult material. I need something that's like gritty. I need, I want something visceral. Like I need some story. I need something that's just not like vanilla and cute. Like I need some like death or sex,
something,
blood,
something, right? I get you.
Something. So anyways, I got into Preacher. I read that first one in a second. My wife got the whole series for me for Christmas. I was like,
nice.
You're the bomb. We're getting married.
You're the bomb. That's it.
Like, yeah, I think we're still dating. She got all of them for me. And so like, then I read Why the Last Man, and like,
another great one.
Oh my gosh. So I really didn't get back into the comic world until I was actually in my like mid-20s. You know, I would
Okay.
dabbled in stuff in the movies, but now if you want to transition, like we're in the golden age of like, we're in the platinum age
Yeah, I
of
think
like
that's the right way to put it.
content. Like,
Yeah.
shit, we're getting spin-off series on Disney Plus for like Winter and the Soldier soon.
Yeah, with stuff you would never dream of. Like, there's no way you would think
Falcon and
in
Winter
a million
Soldier.
years, right?
Yeah, like you're like, I mean, yeah, we got the old Spider-Man. It's like, look at our Spider-Man movies now. We have a Mysterio. We had a like, we all went down and saw that at one of our Comic Cons, and I remember we walked in, and I wasn't like, it was like one of the Spider-Mans I truly wasn't like stoked. It was just kind of like, it was like Avengers had already happened, all that stuff had happened. And it's like, oh, there's a Spider-Man movie? Like, what the hell?
It was almost like an afterthought at first, maybe when you first heard about it. Like, oh, that's
Yes.
weird that they put it right after that movie. Like,
Yes. And then the moment that when it all flipped and he was the bad guy and he takes Peter into that dream zone with like the iron.
And you're like, that's it. That's the comics.
You're like, oh, we're like, oh my God, they did it again. Like,
Yeah.
this is so awesome. Like, this is literally from the comic book. Holy shit. Like, it was like,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
was that
so
moment, yeah.
yeah. So now, like, where you have, you know, these shows.
Underrated film, by the way.
That one, oh man, that was fantastic. I mean, I love all.
Such a great movie.
They're so good. So to have like, I mean, my kids, they've seen, like my son will always watch the end scene in Endgame. He's like, can we watch the fight scene? He's 5. But like when they get old enough, and if they like it, but if they're old enough to like, hey, you guys can literally sit down from Iron Man 1 and watch 20, 25, what, you know, whenever they get like 30 movies in a row of all this, just the Marvel stuff, not even the DC stuff and other things. And I'm like,
right.
So insane.
Right. All we had was Star Wars. Like, all right, I guess we're gonna watch the whole trilogy again this weekend. Like, no, they can watch movies forever, pretty much, in that same universe.
You're right. Like, we watched the last Star Wars Rise of Skywalker last night. It was late, so they fall asleep. But I started watching again. I was really hard on that. I wasn't hard on that movie. I just like, it's cool, but I mean, they're still, I remember they're kids movies, but like ultimately, even though we have an old fan base. But I was like, I was hard on this movie. Like, this is fun. Like, it moves.
You kind of have to put your adultness aside, and like, that's right. This is Star Wars. Have fun with it.
This is
shut your brain up. Sometimes.
So, yeah. Anyways, so
that was a great answer to that question. Just kidding. No, I like it. But we had a good question. Let me see if I can find it back here. It's like, yeah, but can you draw feet better than Rob Liefeld?
What? You go ahead, Mom, do it. I'll be right back. I gotta put a movie on really quick.
Of course. So anyone in the chat, if you have more questions, I'll try to scroll through the chat since our chat question guy ran off with the wife to do something about the baby.
Hopefully it's okay.
I know, it was a good thing.
Different phrasing thing.
Yeah, well, if she did text her doctor because it was like the timing of contractions, then the doctor probably meant to come in to have the baby, most likely. So, could be. You never know. We'll see. Hopefully, it's for good things. Knock on wood.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. I know this has been kind of a different kind of chat today. I don't feel like the story time aspect. I enjoy it, but I enjoy talking to artists. But all 30 of you, thank you. I know we have Priscilla back in the chat as well. Oh, that's a good question.
And people who go to the cons, go to Artist Alley. It's a dying breed. Cons make it smaller and smaller section. Artists have amazing stories to tell because they get to interact with so many things.
And talk to them, too.
Inherently creative, yeah. Don't just stand there while they're drawing and be like, oh, yeah, so engage.
Engage. Well, welcome back.
Hello.
Well, we do have another question here from one of our past artists that's on the that was on here. Priscilla asks, not sure if this was answered already, and it hasn't, but do you have a dream project that you would like to work on?
No.
No, huh?
No. Yes, no, that's not true. I've got a book idea in mind, and I don't want to say children's book, but something I want to have some of my own intellectual property like, fleshed out and really thought out. So it's not like I want to work for a specific company. I want to work for myself, but more like have some of my own ideas happen and really come to light.
No, I think a book would be great. especially with your art style.
That's the next step. So
There you go. Yeah, you should write like a whole story based around your kids being stuck at home during COVID, but it'd be like a children's book, and how the family's stuck together and what they do to survive. And
hey man, there's all these movies that are like coming out like, oh, it's a romance during COVID. I'm like, COVID's still happening, guys.
I know.
Like, I don't want to
give me
like,
something else. Give me
like,
Lord of the Rings or something. Come on, don't do this to me.
God. Oh my
That's
god.
funny. Story time with Tony, says Mountain Egg. So she's liking this. Oh, Ben is asking, whatever happened? Oh, that's for us. Never mind. We won't answer that question. He wants to know why we aren't doodling anymore. That's a good question, Trevor. Why aren't we doodling?
I responded to him in the chat. VirtualCon week
did you?
happened.
Oh, well, there you go.
It
Yeah,
got right in
you
between.
don't want to see me draw, please. Maybe if I spent time on something, because it's been a while since I've drawn. Anyways, I don't know. Have you had any interactions with any of these other artists that work for like the comic book companies that come over or see your artwork and ever go, "Hey, man, that's pretty cool," or buy your stuff?
Let's see. Oh, so the story about the Spider Gwen behind you.
Yeah.
So at San Diego that first year, I had two things that happened. One with that, I had this girl come up and she was like, "Are you the guy with the Spider Gwen sticker?" And I was like, "I think so."
Oh, yeah, there might be a lot. I don't know.
Well, I know like I sell a lot of stickers and that's the majority of what people see on my table, but I was like, "I think so. Is it this one?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "My friend told me about it." And I saw her badge, and all the badges, at least a couple of years ago, like if you're a attendee, it's one color. If you are,
that's right, yeah.
A press, you have one. But if you are in the industry, you have the industry pass. You have a different color. It's like, oh, you like your industry. Like, who do you work for? She's like, Sony. Like, what are you working on? She's like,
interesting.
Spider-Verse. I'm like, what? Like, and she was very like coy about it, just very humble. It's like, you work like, what do you do? She's like, well, I'm the Spider Gwen artist. I was like, what? She's like, I'm doing all the animation for Spider Gwen. I was like, holy shit. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna put your on my computer at Sony Studios. I'm like,
oh my god,
shit. Like, are you serious? Like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear that. And
Heck
then the other one, I have my limited edition. I have a Ryan Reynolds story too, but
do tell at some point.
Okay. That's that same show. I had my limited edition X-Force Deadpool piece.
Okay.
And this lady came up. She's like, "Oh, I want to get that, and I want to get your other two Deadpools." I'm like, "Okay." And she had like a badge on. I was like, and I was talking with her husband. Like, "What do you do?" Like, "Oh, she's like, I'm a lawyer." I'm like, "Who do you work for?" She's like, "Fox." I'm like, "What?"
Oh my god.
I know. I was like, She's like, no. I love this. Because you're like, obviously you're doing fan art and stuff, and
right.
but they know what, like my style, like I have my own thing. Like we always try and say, like doing any type of fan art, like yeah, like studio, anyone can come out. Disney could, but I've had nothing but good things said or happen because I'm doing it. That's how I got doing the Bob Ross. Like the family loved the piece. They loved the design. Like, so it puts you in that position where if Marvel's looking for a Spider-Man artist, they're going to look for people that draw Spider-Man. They're not looking for people that draw whatever else. So you want to put yourself in that arena. But yeah, she's like, yeah, we're going to put them up in the office. Like, this is freaking dope or whatever. Okay. So anyways, but
that's nice. I'd like to hear those kind of stories.
Yeah. One of my clients that I sold a car to, very, what's the best word for it? Like humble, but just like not boisterous, but basically I kind of found out that he is Ryan Reynolds' personal videographer. Like he's Ryan Reynolds' right-hand man.
Wow.
So I did a Ryan Reynolds piece for him, and it somehow like got to his wife Blake during Fashion Week. Okay. And she loved it because his wife's family lives in Park City, which is just about 45 minutes from my house.
Nice.
And she loved it, but we never found out if it made it to Ryan.
Gotcha. So
he has one of my originals, maybe. But he called me accidentally last year and was like, hey, like because he was like talking about Carson. I'm like, oh, I don't work at the dealership anymore. He's like, oh, you don't? He's like, no. He's like, oh, that's okay. He's like, we should do another piece for Ryan. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I'm doing like everything you see with Ryan Reynolds now. He's doing all that stuff with him, like all those commercials, everything like that. He is.
Oh, that's him. Okay.
He is literally his guy.
Gotcha.
So he's like, do another piece for him. I'm like, I'll get it to him. Like, I'll see him. I see him every 2 weeks, and this is before COVID. But
right,
once things pick up, he's like, do a piece for him. I'm like, okay.
Nice, dude.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see. That's great. I hope so. Let's see. We did get some more questions from our other artists actually in the chat. Did you ever participate in Inktober or any other of those internet challenges that they have for artists?
Jake Parker's a good friend of mine. So
nice.
Yeah, he lived here in Utah up until when he moved to Arizona. So I know Jake
artists in Utah
very well. And I did a couple of them back in the day, but I felt like with my work schedule, I never like pushed myself to try and draw a new piece every day. And I know that was what the challenge was. So yeah, like if you have the time and you can do that, or you want to push yourself that way, by all means, try and do it. Do the prompts, whatever you can. I mean, it's just there to like help you push yourself creatively, and maybe even like take your time and like your production time. Like, can I get a piece out in this time? Or maybe just change your style. You have to draw small to do a little piece.
There you go. Right.
30 minutes before you go to bed, or in the morning before work. So yeah, I've done a few of them, but mostly I have so many ideas in my own head and I still haven't got out yet, that I want to finish myself before I try and
that makes sense.
Do this challenge or post a picture of myself.
Sure. No, that's a good question and a good answer. Let's see.
Yeah, we had a question from Ben B. He said, what do you like to draw for fun when it isn't like a work specific thing?
You know what's weird? All my stuff I draw for fun is now commission work. Just being honest, like I haven't had time to doodle. I almost missed the time of me before the internet. Because the internet, like you get into those like, oh, there's YouTube. Oh, there's Instagram. Oh, like I've gone on Instagram to like write something back a DM and like start browsing. And I'm like,
you get lost, right? Like, oh crap, what was I doing again?
I know that's like, come on, you gotta get self-control and discipline and stuff. And so like, I'm not like, dude, that's my kryptonite sometimes. I'm like, shit, just getting distracted. But then you have a family that needs stuff. So if you're young and you have no bills, even if you have bills, but like you have that alone time, cherish that. Work your ass off. And I'm not making excuses. Like there's guys with more kids than I have, more responsibilities, other things that are killing it too.
Yeah.
For my time, like it's where you want to put your time. So
there you go.
That's my like I like doing, making product. Like that's if I turn out a cool thing that I can turn into like a product, like that's what's fun, is like pushing myself on this series. That's what's fun. But I experiment, I do things on the iPad, my iPad Pro now, and do
that's a question that I almost always ask, and I didn't ask it, but how do you draw? Like, do you always draw pen and paper, always draw on iPad, both?
So I typically, for years, it's always been pen paper. Okay. And then I would light table it, get a cleaner pencil, and then ink it, and then I use Prismacolor markers.
Okay. So you do marker it.
Once I have the Prismacolor marker, and I've been using Prismacolor markers for 20 years now.
Nice.
And then, because when I worked at the newspaper, you have to do color fast, and so I'd like use, and it was all black and white because it was a newspaper. So I just did the Prismacolor black and white markers. That's how I started. Right. And I liked the gradients I could get versus like a lot of editorial cartoonists that would use hash marks and like dot matrix and stuff.
Yep.
So like that spider going behind you, it looks different than like what you would see with markers, because I take it the original, scan it, like you see it, her legs down there, like you see it's all choppy with like the different gray tones, because I vector it from there. When the vector gives it its own look, so people that are digital think it's digital, but it's not, because they're like, there's just too much randomness in there. And then I can scale it. I can make it a product, like print, color tune it. Let's see.
Very nice.
So right now, like I'm doing a Lobo.
Nice. That's great.
So, and that'll be all pixelated. like because it's for a
Sure,
guy.
of course you can't see it now. Right.
Like, he's got kids and stuff, but like, I
Right.
mean, there's some
It's
on
funnier that way, anyways, right?
Oh, 100%. So like this is a finished piece that's been vectored. I did not color this on my iPad, but like my Predator.
Holy cow! Yeah, that's what
So-
I think I've seen before. Yeah. You yes.
Let's see. So I'll typically, let's see. I will, let's see if I get a breakdown.
Break it down.
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun to see the process too if you still kind of go by your old art days.
Let's see.
Draw the different shapes first.
Okay. So like for me, let's see. Like I'll have my template, which in this case was the Naruto that I drew, but then like this one was drawn Baby Yoda.
Okay.
And so from there, like I'll just start layering it up, like trying different faces out.
Okay.
Like, and it's just like
there he is. There's Yoda. All right.
Little feet, big feet. Let's see. So then it's like Naruto. So then I'm still like going back and forth, and then with the iPad, and then all the way to the finished product, which is, let's see.
And Pop says they need a new how do you even say that together?
Naru
Yoda to sticker. Sure.
Moving to the iPad, my friends always made fun of me because they're like, you're like so tech savvy, but you never moved to digital until like last year. And again, I ink on there now. I won't I'll do 99% of my inks on here. There'll be things I tweak up or not tweak up, but like, sounds weird. Punch up with my actual inking brushes. But ultimately, I can get the line consistency work all on my iPad. Like I can do it all on here.
Oh, okay.
And then I have a really nice printer, so I can print it out. Then I can color from there. I just haven't found, and I haven't really given the time, but I know the markers I have. I know the colors. There's something to say. Here, I'll show you. And I have like it's crazy. Here, look for those artists out there.
We have some artists in the chat, so pay attention.
Okay, those are all my own custom brushes, and truly, I only use that one because I only use.
Okay.
Well, it's just the style of and even this one. These two are for specific projects to make the art look like that character, but these are like my Cola Race pencil, which is that pencil that I use in real life.
Right.
And then I have my Bic pen, which everyone knows a Bic pen.
Yeah.
Right there. And then my brush pen, and then obviously my eraser. So I really only have 3 custom things I made. I spent hours on here fiddling with the parameters to make it literally feel like what I already use. Like that's the 2 things I'd use plus my brush pen. That's it. And I have this screen. It's not even really a protector, but it's a screen protector called Paper-like. And it makes my iPad feel
like a sheet of paper then.
Just a little bit of grit, so it's not so plastic feeling. And that for me, having the right pencils. I don't know. I'm talking a lot.
You.
That's you. So that's on brand.
I'm gonna tell her 2 hours just so I can have some time after this to decompress my face.
Dang.
Like, I don't know, like 30.
My mom left.
Oh, she did.
She did.
Oh, nice.
Well, if you need to wrap this up soon, let us know.
No. Oh, you're almost done. You might kick me off. That's totally fine.
Okay, no worries. Keep going.
All right. If you have people asking, like, if you have people interested, like,
they're all interested. Yeah, they're all talking. We have a lot of like artists and people who buy art in our chat, so they're all talking amongst each other too. And like Priscilla says, the downside of digital art is you have no pencil originals to sell to people.
Okay, so that's why I still do all my stuff. This is what I was grabbing, like, and it's because all my friends draw digital. Like there's all my Prismacolors. Like
holy cow! There you go, Priscilla.
that's not even all of them. Like that's about half of them.
Hey, Larry.
So I mean, there's like this whole thing is this is all my grays. I mean, it's like I'm not trying to brag with my collection here. I'm just saying, like you got to have these are the tools that I'm familiar.
You need to go to a con someday when they back open with like a trench coat and just like open your trench coat and have all your different Prismacolors. Let's see what I got here.
Wait,
what color do you want?
Story time.
Oh yeah.
I used to travel with all of my markers, and I had like smaller cases for them. It wasn't that big thing because I would do originals on like sketch covers. Because my dad's there helping me. Right. Like I'd bust out stuff late at night or whatever when we're back at the hotel or whatever, and we go to Denver Comic Con.
Okay.
And there's like no one at the airport. The security is like there's like 3 or 4 people because they really hadn't got that rush yet of people. I go through security and they flag my bag.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, I'm like, what's the matter? They're like, oh, we have some sort of foreign object in here. I'm like, oh, it's my markers. They're like, well, we can't trust you. You can't just say what it is. Like, we need to have someone come look at it. So they call a manager. That manager calls a manager.
Oh,
by now, there's like loads of people in the security line now, and I'm stopping this one line. I'm like, no, it's marker. Just pull them out. I'll draw for you. Like I'm coming from Comic Con.
Right.
It's almost like they've gone to the bomb squad at this point.
Oh my god! The pen is mightier than the bomb.
Yeah, this head dude from the airport comes like down. He like opened the bag. What are they? He's like, dude. He's like, it's Denver Comic Con this weekend. He's like, look at all the people with cosplay swords and all this shit. He's like, this is an artist, and it's almost like there's 7 people that had to make this decision. I'm like, I told you from the get go.
Yes.
Like they look weird in the X-ray. It's like all these tubes.
Sure.
So, anyways, I was like, oh my god. So I don't travel with anymore. But going back. I can still sell my originals, which I do, which like this was, I drew this. Did I draw this on the iPad? I did this one on the iPad. I did do this on the iPad. So I drew that one on the iPad, but then printed it out, still colored it, cut it out. So I can still sell originals, which is cool. Where a lot of my friends that do just straight digital. So
there you go. That's funny, being pulled over. I've had that happen once before. It's not fun. And it's like, it's nothing. Like, I forget what it was. I think it was like a power bar or something, but they couldn't see through it. So they thought it was like maybe C4 or something. I'm not too sure. So they go, they had to tear everything out. Like, good Lord. It took me forever to pack.
That's freaky. That's freaky.
Gotta love it. That's Comic-Con for you. It's like, they got to get used to that. They got to realize that people have like fake props in their bags and all sorts of weird random stuff.
Oh yeah. That's what the guy said. He's like, look at these guys with swords. Look at these guys with like helmets are coming through. And
yeah.
Anyways.
There you go. They say they're strict. Mountain Meg is from Colorado, from Denver. So she said, yeah, the airport there is pretty strict.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Yep. Well, that's no good, they said. Here's $500 worth of markers, says Priscilla. And yeah, indeed. That's pretty good. Is there any, like, was there ever a time where you had, like, something that didn't sell well? Like, maybe, like, a certain character? Or is there a character that was your bestseller too?
Bob Ross, my Baby Yoda was killer when that came out.
Oh, I bet.
I was actually late to the game to get something out. People were just pumping out stuff. And I was like, I want something that like Jon Favreau would want to have on like his car, on like a sticker, like his water bottle or whatever. So that took some, like, I finally got him out and it was like killer. It was awesome success. I mean, there's definitely those characters you're like, this is going to kill it, and doesn't. I'm trying to think of what character I did. I don't know. It's weird because you have some that you don't think are going to sell, but then you find those little niches that do.
Yeah, you never know. Like, there's a crazy fan base that comes out the woodwork. It's like, oh my god, he finally drew our character. One person finally drew it. Someone finally drew Mac and me. Finally, after all these years.
Oh my god, I put that on the other night, like, I don't know, a few months ago, just to see how bad it was. That animatronic is horrible.
Isn't it horrible?
Like,
it's the best. I know. Like, I keep telling people, like, I don't know why I love this movie, but it's so bad. It's so bad.
Horrible. It's horrible.
Oh, good times. That's funny. So there was another question, real quick. Any crazy artist stories we were asked? Whatever that may entail.
Artist Alley stories.
Was that what she said?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, don't make fun of other artists. Talk about Artist Alley.
Being in Vegas my first year and having like all the people walk up that have body paint on.
Okay.
And their what do you call it? Their nipple tassel,
right.
nipple cover falls off, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like, like they're like dressed. You know, they're like painted like Batman or like who else? Like Poison Ivy. I have pictures of this stuff, and they're like,
yeah, I've seen those people around at cons before.
Yeah, I mean, brush your teeth. I mean, having a wife that's a hygienist, you're more like aware of that.
Please.
You're like, you like feel bad. You're like, you need to see the dentist. Like their breath is so bad. You're like, you have
halitosis or something.
Mouth. Why your mouth smells like that, and you're like trying. And they're very like they're dressed like they're not. They don't look homeless. Like they look like they could afford to go to the dentist or whatever.
Right,
and like
and shower and brush their teeth.
Yeah, like just brush your teeth. Like like I feel so bad, and I'm like, oh. So that's always bad. Trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Obviously, that story from the first time I was at a Comic-Con. I feel like I'm full of stories, but then I sometimes forget them because there's just so many.
Oh, that's for sure.
All right, cool. All right. Let them stay up.
Let them stay up, yeah. Pump up full of sugar.
Like, let them sleep over. Let them sleep over.
Yeah, it's late enough anyways, right? Might as well.
Let's see. Let's see.
Well, I know Alex left, but I do want to ask you about that DeLorean story.
Oh, yeah. That might be a good story.
We knew a guy when I worked at the car dealership. He had like what was it? He had the BMW electric, like the i8 or whatever. Not the i8. What the hell is that called?
Yeah,
whatever.
It's the i8. That's a nice one.
That's, dude, I'm like forgetting stuff now. But he had a DeLorean.
Okay.
He sold the DeLorean, and I only know this story because he sold this i8 to our manager, but he basically sold the DeLorean and is here in Utah. And he went to a 7-Eleven and was just getting a Coke or something. I don't think he even filled up the car. He just like parked it and he was inside and the DeLorean caught on fire. There was an electrical problem inside. He was on his way to deliver it to sell it. Like he was meeting the guy at the bank. He had just stopped at the 7-Eleven to get like a drink. It starts on fire. I think he was outside. It starts on fire. He runs inside and says, "Hey, do you have a fire extinguisher?" And they're like, "Yes." "Can I have it?" "No."
What? No.
And they're like, "It's only for fires on the property, like inside the building." He's like, "My car's on fire. We can't give it to you. It's policy. You cannot give me your fire extinguisher." So he
at that point, I would grab it.
That's what I said, but
I would have punched him in the face and grabbed it.
Behind the counter, whatever it was, he didn't have it in front, but he had to sit there on the sidewalk. He called him, but he like had to watch his DeLorean burn to the ground and call the guy and say, "Your car's burning."
Apparently, so Alex is actually in the chat right now in the hospital with his wife, hearing this story, and he knows this guy.
Really?
He knows the whole story. Yeah, well, he knows almost every DeLorean owner in the country. Because they're like the thing, it's like a club, right? No, he knows this whole story. He says, "That's funny."
Because I'm telling it from like that owner's telling it from my old manager. So I think I got it right, but it basically came down to like the 7-Eleven people would not give him.
That's hilarious.
Which is
because
bad.
he's saying that's the car that is in all the memes.
Oh, is there?
I guess there is. I haven't seen that meme. I'm not up with my DeLorean memes, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not in the DeLorean Facebook groups.
I know, I'm not. Sorry. I did not get that one.
That is crazy.
I got to look that one up. I was going to say a joke about maybe the car tried to go into the future and it didn't quite make it. It got stuck in its own flames, but guess not.
That's crazy.
But yeah, he said you got the whole story right.
Okay, cool. No, yeah, it was bonkers. I do it like obviously I gotta put kids to bed, and I know you're like, holy shit. But
this guy just doesn't stop talking. No. We'd rather you talk than not talk. That's so much better than getting an artist on that just doesn't know what to say.
I will say this. Myself and my buddy Dominic Glover do Instagram lives on Fridays. We'll be doing this tomorrow, like early, like
Dominic Glover, not Don Hill Glover, the actor. Okay.
Dominic Glover, yeah.
Okay.
4 or 5 p.m. Mountain time tomorrow. That's kind of our thing we've been doing now. He does it a lot, but like he and I together do stuff. Sells stuff, business stuff. Like we do a bunch of stuff. He does his own mentorship program. I want to get up and going, but a lot of good knowledge for people that are artists wanting to do the Comic Cons. Hopefully when they start up again, they will. It'll be different, but things will, move on and whatnot. So that's one thing. I was going to ask you, how many people do you have in your chat roughly?
Right now we have 27.
I was going to say, I'm going to do, let's see, stay up late.
We threw your link in the chat there too, so they can check you out.
So just to leave us on a high note, I want to say, first off, thanks for asking.
Now it went up. It's 29 now.
Huh? Oh,
now it went up as soon as you said that. All right.
I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. If you just got in, you hung around, thanks for listening.
Definitely.
Thanks to you guys for asking me to come do this. This has been a total blast. Hopefully you guys laughed a little bit or got some value. I mean, I obviously have a lot more knowledge to give on certain specifics of logistics and traveling and stuff like that. I traveled the last 2 years in some capacity almost for free. I had, no ways in the system of doing that or, and getting rooms cheaper, things like that.
Nice.
But for the Comic-Con thing, but hopefully you guys got some value or again had a chuckle or learn something. Feel free to follow me, DM me at the Tonus. My hashtag's hand over the hero. It sounds like you guys put my site in there. I appreciate that. The thing I want to do before we get off and whatever, do you have any questions before we get off? Or
no, you're good.
Okay. So since it for here it's 10 o'clock, it's only 9 o'clock there, but I'm gonna do stay up late.
There you go, chat.
Now hang tight. I asked how many people.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
I'm doing. I don't do this often.
Okay.
That's there. I'm doing it for. I gotta save it. The discount code is stay up late. So that's the. I'll put that up there. I don't know if you even want to put that in your chat just so they know. You don't have to look at the sign.
Sure.
That's the discount code. It's good for 50% off everything. If you guys want anything, I had some people last time I did this, they got 1 sticker, 10 stickers, whatever you want. If you guys like my stuff, but I'm doing it for 10 uses. So if there's 10 people, when they're gone, they're gone.
There you go.
It's basically a buy one get one free, 50% off. I didn't exclude anything. That's my exclusives, whatever. Because I appreciate you guys even tuning in to.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you.
To listen and whatnot. So, and I always throw other goodies and stuff inside the bags too. But, but yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll be checking that out. Make sure you guys head over there. We just dropped the link in the chat again, as well as the promo code.
Yeah, you got it.
Get there quick. Brandon, well, thank you so much for staying up late. I know you had probably family matters to attend to tonight, so we are happy that you stuck around and told us some fun stories. And hopefully we get to see you live and in person at the con. I'm sure I've actually probably even talked to you at cons before, but when you're there and you're talking to so many people, because we obviously were at the same Silicon Valley Comic Con together.
Yes,
it would be good to see you, and actually now that we've talked, see you face to face, as well as everyone else in the chat saying that too.
Yeah, no, I love talking to people.
Yeah.
Anybody will listen. But reach out. Any questions, like I said, DM me. If you're at a con when that happens, probably next year, definitely say hi and whatnot. But thank you guys.
Heck yeah, man. All right, and everyone else listening, make sure to follow us everywhere as well. We're the Secondary Heroes everywhere. It's pretty easy. We made it easy. And we're here usually every Thursday, so check us out and stay tuned.
Awesome.
And thank you, Tony.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Later.
Peace.